Welcome back to Tosh Talks Film. I'm your host, Natasha Arrow, and today I have a very special guest. He's a multi-platinum, Grammy-nominated music producer turned award-winning filmmaker. He's collaborated with artists like Beyonce, Zedd, Megan Thee Stallion, Travis Scott. He's the founder and creative director of the production company IO Visuals, and he's directed for brands like the NBA, Marvel, Coca Cola, and Netflix. His work has earned him a Shorty Award, a Telly Award, and recognition on the Cannes Lions Shortlist. His name is Isaac Yowman. Isaac, thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely, absolutely. I appreciate the rollout.
You have a stacked resume, so I wanted
Okay,
to
for sure.
learn.
You
Yeah,
consolidated. I love it. Come
thank
on.
you, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Happy to be here.
first, I want to talk to you about IO Visual.
Hmm.
We're recording this in May. It's a
Yeah,
big month for you.
absolutely. Huge month. Huge month. It's our 15-year anniversary around the corner. So I'm excited.
How does it feel? Does it feel like 15 years has passed?
I feel old. No, I feel refreshed, to be honest. It If someone wouldn't have told me that it was 15 years, I wouldn't say so. Cause honestly, man, it's been a blessing to be able to just do something that I love, be creative in the arts, do it with people that I enjoy, and honestly be able to celebrate so many underheard and underserved stories and give so many jobs. You know what I mean? That's been the biggest blessing in it all, to be honest. Um, Last year we gave like 2025, I think we employed like over 300 and something people. So, and it's been a blessing for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about that, about why you feel like it's so important to pour into the community like you have with all your initiatives like IO Art House, things like that. Why do you feel it's important to pour into your community?
Um, I think it's just how I was raised, to be to be quite honest with you. Don't be selfish. Share the gifts that you have. And then just always just growing up, to be honest with you in the word, like two or more gathered. Like you know, when you look at teams, they always tend to go further when you're doing it together. And I think right now, with a massive resurgence of energy around Houston and what's happening, I think now more than ever, it's imperative that we stick together. But that's always been my motto, right? Like always been investing in people, investing in spaces and places that people typically wouldn't, invest in. I'm proud to say I've had people work with my company who literally, I was telling an intern this the other day, I've I've hired at least 5 to 6 people who literally quit their job to start their film career. So I can proudly say, like, I literally help people make a massive transition. And I mean, we've had hundreds of interns that's come on to IO to then go off and do great, amazing things, whether I hired them or I got them help to a position somewhere else. And so for me, that honestly brings me joy. Like, yeah, I have IO Art House and curated that, but I can't do everything there. As a matter of fact, this will be our 5-year anniversary for IO because we opened it up in 2021, right after the pandemic, and I can't name you 3 productions that we filmed there. It's literally a space for other creatives to come in, to do their thing, have an affordable place, and a safe space to curate whatever their art is. So, um, yeah, I mean, we office out of there, we do pre-production stuff, but far as like actually shot or filmed in it, some people like, why haven't you filmed a film in your play? And I don't know. It's weird, honestly, but um and I'm just thankful to, have had all these different avenues to help people create spaces and, you know, just continue to grow.
Talk a little bit more about IO Art House for people who aren't familiar with it.
Yeah, so IO Art House is a creative space right in the heart of Fifth Ward, right outside of Edo. It's a minority owned and operated. We built it literally from the ground up. Like I purchased the property in 2018, 2016, late 2016, early 2017, and, it was a COVID baby, and it was scary building that place during COVID because I didn't know the end was unforeseeable, at that time, right? Especially, like, in the midst like, 2020, that was rough, and then it became even more tougher because we're dealing with OSHA, they didn't want people and crews to work around one another. It was my first I had a little experience in the real estate world, but it was my first thing doing something this massive, like, it's a 5-level structure, right? And so it was a big deal. Um, but yeah, IO Art House was celebrating our 5 years too, being in business. We won Pure Space Open Door Award last year. It was one of the top spaces. And I mean, I'm just so proud, man. We've been able to host over 2,000 creatives
Wow.
coming in to create art in that space. So whether it be podcasts, whether it be photography, films, music videos, real estate, PSAs, etc. It's just been awesome to see so many people come in and curate dope stuff there. It's been cool. Like sometimes I'll see stuff, I'm like, I didn't even see that. You know what I mean? Like, I was just talking to you off air about like how important art and production design is to me. And if I wasn't a filmmaker or a musician, I would be a interior decorator. People often came into the art house and like, who designed this? What woman did this? I'm like, I literally picked out every single piece, every single prop, went to every single vintage store. Like I take it very, very, very serious. And I love interior decorating. I love designing. And so that was kind of like honestly like the embryo stages of me becoming a filmmaker because before I even picked up a camera, I was always kinda, like, designing and photoshopping, figuring out just, like, how things look, so, yeah, but I'm so excited that IO has continued to grow and build, and we looking for even more expansion, um, in the coming years.
Is that something that a lot of people that many people know about you, like your interest in interior design?
Uh
I'm curious, like, if it did it do you think it came from? Because I know your background is music videos, so
Right.
did it come from that?
I mean, I've always had a thing for just things looking well, I'm a you know I think I dress well, right? So like I've always been a person putting pieces together,
Mhm.
um, and just always appealing to how things look in the aesthetic feel and vibe of things. So yeah, I started off in music, but again, every single artist that I had signed, which was over about 7 or 8 artists that I had signed to Keys and Ink, and still to this day, as I release music, I've always did every single art cover ever for every artist. I designed it, and so I always had an eye for like placement and things like this. So that's why when we were talking about like verticals, right? Like I'm like I need people to see the whole thing and contextually where it needs to be. And so I've always kind of been that way. Like I'm the ADD person. Like, hey, move the glass over right there. That's it, right? So, um, I just think that's my attention to detail kind of rubbed off into designing. And when you're into film, as a cinematographer, production design is more than half the battle, right? I'm filming something on a white wall. That that same scene with the right production design, plants and paintings and tables will make that whole scene look and feel more elevated and premium just by the interior decorating of it. So always kind of been that way. I've always been into architectural digest. Like a lot of people don't know, like me and my wife, we sit at home and watch HGTV for hours. And even before I met her, I was very big into architectural digest, watching the house flips. Like I'm really enamored by that. So yeah.
Wow.
Before I built IO Art House, I had remodeled and restored about 3 or 4 separate properties before I even built IO Art House. So that's how I had the intuitiveness and the education on kind of how to navigate it. So yeah, I love it.
When I was looking at some of your projects, like, yesterday, I was looking at All Screwed Up,
Uh-huh.
and I caught myself, like, paying more attention to, like, the background.
Yeah,
just because it was so I don't know, it was really interesting,
yeah,
and you could tell, like, the detail,
yeah,
like, specifically that one room, I think, where, the main character, he's like it's, like, all
wood.
wooden
Yeah,
panels.
that's the screw room, the wood room, yeah.
Mhm.
And I had reference images of that, and I was like, "Man, I wanna recreate this," and, like, finding all of those pieces was, like, such a difficult task, to be honest, right? Like, because these are pieces that were, like, from the early '90s, but I teamed up with a vintage store, and we probably spent 5 months just getting all of the pieces, and then let alone building them, and building out their room. So, yeah, Imagine That Vintage was of great help in that process. They unfortunately went out of business after COVID, but man, they were extreme help. And the guys over there was like they had a music store, so they had a lot of vintage stuff. So it was dope. But I pulled all the pieces together and the resources to make that room feel real, feel lived in.
I think it came across it to me, it definitely came
Thank you.
across on
I'm
screen.
glad they did it.
Now I wanna talk a little bit more about, I guess, your desire to highlight, underserved communities in your work. A lot of your notable projects, they are, like, they're Black stories and, like, they're Houston stories, All Screwed Up, Memory Builds the Monument. I think those 2 stories, if I'm not mistaken, they're both about, like, communities in Fifth
Yeah.
Ward.
So All Screwed Up is about DJ Screw, so he was kinda all over, but most notably, like, 3rd Ward, South Park, Southside, Sunnyside, kinda 45 Gulf Bank area, but, I mean, Gulf Freeway area, but they were about Houston stories indeed. I'm not gonna say the stories fell in my lap, but I will say God brought them to me, and because I was, back and forth between LA, New York, Atlanta doing branded work, and, these opportunities just came to be able to tell stories about icons in these particular neighborhoods that, in all honesty, I grew up in. So I think I had a deeper connection to them, to be honest with you, right? Like, DJ Screw, I grew up on screw tapes, buying screw tapes, being on MLK, and Diape. My sister used to stay on MLK and Diape. I used to go every Sunday to the MLK and just watch the slabs come down, go get me a little slushy from Burger Park,
Mhm.
and just be a young kid just sitting out there just so enamored by the cars swinging, the loud music, and just the cultural, you know, relevance of it all. And then Fifth Ward was special to me because I went to church in Fifth Ward. So even though I was raised in Missouri City, I actually went to Foster Elementary, like in that kind of Yellowstone, Sunnyside, South Park,
Mhm.
South Acres area.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my screw element started. But then my mom wanted, better for us, moved out to Missouri City. But my sister is 11 years older than me, so it's my big sis. So summer times I would go be with sis, and so I would be in the city, and so that's how I was exposed to it more. But every weekend, my mom and I were going to a church that was called Pleasant Grove Baptist Church in Fifth Ward. My mom, all of her sisters, all of her brothers were raised in Fifth Ward, so that was that connection there, and so it just everything just aligned. So that's why I said it didn't fall in my lap. I think God just sent them to me and they aligned with me and it worked. And I think it showed through in the visuals, the connection. I don't really take on projects just for money. Like if I don't have a connection to it, um, and it's not a passion of mine, then I won't pursue it, to be quite frank, especially when it comes to films. Like both of those projects you mentioned were passion projects. Like it
Mhm.
wasn't not only were we not getting paid per se, but we were like just wanting to tell dope stories and get them out into the world because the world deserves to hear them.
I do wanna add, Memory Builds the Monument, that was nominated for an NAACP Image Award,
It was.
and now is it still streaming on BET Plus?
So BT Plus has now been folded into Paramount Plus. So there's a transition happening, merger internally. So we are identifying the right space and place for it. But yeah, it premiered on Paramount via BT Plus and Paramount Plus. But now with the merger, figuring all of that out. But yeah, we licensed it to them for 2 years. And so man, it was a super dope rollout to like turn on the TV and see ads about my film coming out. It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
I think it's just so cool, and I don't know, I think it's, like, a beautiful thing that these stories that are deeply personal to you are some of the ones that have been recognized, like, by so many people,
Yeah.
like these national, these huge organizations like Paramount, BT Plus, NAACP,
Yeah.
um, and I guess it goes to show, like, since the work truly meant something to you, maybe it resonates with others, like, that are watching it.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, no, I feel that like Memory Builds the Monument was such a dope project because even it got selected in South by Southwest too, and that was like a really dope experience. Um, just because you seen so many people like so into it, and it was just like really cool to see like the community rallying around the project, and Kathy Payton, who's at Fifth Ward CRC and Harrison, they really like wrap their arms around me, um, to, like, really see this coming to fruition and just, being able to see them be with me in LA, walking the red carpet in the ACP Awards. That was, like, really dope, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like, these are folks who really have built their careers about community. So for them to see also, right, my elders, also, to be in LA and see people all the way in Los Angeles, and we walking this red carpet about something that started in Fifth Ward. It's like,
That's powerful.
yeah, that was big. That was big for sure.
Now who is Kathy
Kathy
who's
Payton,
Peyton? Who's
yeah,
she?
Kathy Payton. She is the CEO of Fifth Ward CRC.
Mhm.
And then Reverend Harvey Clemens is the founder of it, and they both were with me in LA, and that's like that's my auntie and that's my uncle, and we was outside, and it was just really cool to just see them. You could just tell like they were just like glowing on the inside because it's like they were old enough to actually go to Club Matinee. So to be on a red carpet with all of these other celebrities, and then also too, I think it was cool for them because I'm such a like, all right, my family from Fifth Ward, I'm from Fifth Ward. Like they just know me as like, all right, that's Isaac. You know what I'm saying? But with them being out in LA and them seeing other people see me as, oh, that's Isaac. I
Mhm.
think that was a eye-opening thing for them because it was eye-opening for me too, but it was just like, I think they were proud, Fifth Ward proud, they were proud of me, they were proud of the project. And man, that's like some moments that I'll never forget for sure. Like just seeing the glow within them. You know what I mean? That meant a lot.
Just hearing you recall it, it's like
Yeah. Yeah, we
that's
had
really special.
it was like a whole weekend. We was like on multiple carpets and they faces on the ground. And then producer Greg Carter, he flew out to LA. He helped me produce it. It was just super, super dope, man. It was really dope. And I could tell that they again were all just proud, like, about a super dope story that honestly needed it to be told.
Is it, available to be watched anywhere or on Paramount? Paramount Plus, you said?
So, like I said, they're still doing the merger right now between because Paramount just purchased BT Plus. So everything that was on BT Plus essentially is now being transformed or transitioned
Okay.
to Paramount Plus, but some things kind of because it's a short form content piece, so still navigating all of that right now because also too at the time of the merger, our licensing deal was also up. So still navigating all those legalities, but I'm sure it'll be somewhere that's really, really cool. And yeah, man, I'm excited to tell those type of stories. I have a really cool project that I'm working on now about Secretary Rod Page. That's like really fire. Starring Woody McClain. Most
Wow.
people know him as Kane from Power or
Bobby Brown?
Bobby Brown from the New Edition story or from the Bobby Brown movie.
Yeah.
Nephew Tommy is in it, co-starring. And man, we got some breakout stars that I don't even want to name. I just want people to see it because man, it's gonna be a really, really cool piece that I'm extremely excited about. Been working with his family on it. Unfortunately, he passed away during the process, but man, lived a hell of a life, right? Passed away at 92. So thankful that I got a chance to meet him, and he was very clear that he wanted me to tell his story. And so it was really cool after we filmed the piece with Woody. I was able to go over, first of all, before we even filmed, I took Woody to his house. So I took Woody to meet him alongside his wife. He was like on hospice at that point, but I wanted to make sure that Woody felt that energy. I felt that energy, and he understood the importance of it because Dr. Paige was the first Black Secretary of Education in the United States ever.
Wow.
And so it was a big deal and a big role that he was playing, and Woody definitely felt that going, and it was just really dope. And I know we had a amazing story because they just jailed, and it was just so crazy. I took a picture of them. I have it actually on my website.
Mhm.
Um, and I mean, I'm sorry. I actually had a picture on my Instagram. It was just like the wildest thing because it's like seeing the young version of Rod Page and the 92 version of Rod Page. But long story short, we filmed the scenes with Woody, and I was able to show, well, the family was able to show Mr. Page the piece that we filmed before he passed away. And he was telling them like he was pleased. And so
That's a
that
good sign. He's
that's a great
pleased.
sign. He was pleased, you know what I'm saying? So, um, man, I'm so excited for the world to see that, by the end of this year, it should be, we should be making some announcements about it. So it's gonna be a really dope project.
I'm seeing like a trend in your work with like historical figures and things like that. So do you think
Listen,
that's kind of like your, I don't
like
know.
like I said, I ain't gonna say it fell in my lap. It just, you know, if I find a subject matter that I'm passionate about, it becomes a passion. Um, and it was just so many synchronicities. I don't even know if that's a word, but a lot of synergy within Dr. Page's story, TSU being a historically Black college. And it's like you hear about these names. When I grew up, I went to Foster Elementary. And so I heard about Dr. Rod Page being the superintendent of HISD for all of these years, but I just heard the name. I was just like, he's so high up.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily know
What
who
that meant.
what that meant, right? I didn't even know fully what a superintendent meant for that matter, right? So, um, yeah, I mean, and then to go to TSU and see it's a whole building, a Rod Page building, like education building, and understand how much he did around educational reform and all of those things. And we had a lot of TSU interns interning at IO. And so it just made a whole lot of sense because what was a cool thing about the process is that we got TSU graduating seniors to actually be able to work on the film set. So they got a chance to meet Woody, got a chance to meet Nephew Tommy, got a chance to meet some of the other main characters in the project. So it was just like a full circle moment. I brought my homie Vincent Powell on to help me produce it, and he's a professor at TSU. So it was just like all the
Yeah.
things were just working together. And my buddy Brandon, he's was on the board at TSU. So it's just like everything just made sense. I understood the assignment and we executed. So
Well, I'm excited to see it come out because
yeah.
I didn't know that you said Dr. Rod Page. I didn't know he was a Houstonian.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No, I
But
didn't know.
well, he's actually from Jackson, Mississippi,
Okay.
but he spent a substantial amount of his life in Houston. He was the superintendent of HISD. He was the dean of education at TSU, which is why the building is named after him. He was the football coach at TSU.
Wow.
He was the athletic director at TSU. Then he went on, like I said, to be the superintendent at HISD, and then George W. Bush brought him on to be the first Black Secretary of Education.
Wow.
So he was um, I wanna tell you this, but I don't wanna give away the spoiler alert, but let's just say when unfortunately, when 9/11 happened, and rest in peace to everybody and anybody affected by 9/11, but when September 11 happened, 2001, the president was with Rod Page. And Imma just let your audience Google that
Okay.
and just know that we recreated that moment, and it's pretty intense, it's pretty fire.
Okay. We're gonna leave it at that. We're gonna leave it at that. Let's see, how do we pivot from that?
I know, right?
Um, I do want to talk quickly about Rides and Hides.
Yeah,
That film was an official selection at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York.
yeah.
What was it like? Because that's like a huge, widely respected film festival. I'm
Of course.
curious, like, how did you feel when your film became an official selection?
So yeah, the year before last, we were awarded a grant at Tribeca for one of the best short films with Rods and Hides. That was a branded piece that I did with my Adidas community family. And first of all, thank you to Adidas because they really kind of curated that momentum, and then it was a collaboration with Premium Goods. So Premium Goods is a brand I've been working with for years. Jennifer Ford, RV Lim, it's like my family. And so they had this idea about highlighting black cowboys and but specifically women in the space. And so I had this idea and man, I took it to the max, right? Like it went from like one small idea to a whole short film. And I put up my own money to take it even further and add some scripted elements just because again, when I'm invested in something, I'm invested. And I just felt like the story about Murtis Dightman, who was one of the first black cowboy, he was the first black cowboy to ever ride a bull, like ever
Wow.
in history. So he was like the first black cowboy, essentially, you know what I mean? Like to compete in the rodeo nationals. Like rodeo nationals is essentially like the Super Bowl of rodeo. And man, it was just a super dope, amazing story. So I got a chance to meet him, got a chance to meet his family, actually became really close with his granddaughter, Ada Dightman, who's kind of narrating, voice overing the short. But yeah, man, to go to Tribeca and know how much effort and energy I put into that, and essentially every single dollar that I was actually going to make as a director, I actually put it back into the film to do a scripted piece because I felt like, man, this will like take it to the next level. And that's kind of what made it be like this Tribeca thing. And so,
Wow.
it's just a testament to investing in yourself and allowing people to see the value you have in the stories. And so, um, Murtis Dightman Sr. was pleased, his son Junior was pleased, his granddaughters and grandsons were pleased. And so, but yeah, that was crazy. Tribeca, like it's crazy because I went on stage, they're talking about my film, they just showed my film at Tribeca at the legendary SVA Theater. And then when I got off stage, the next person coming in was Quentin Tarantino. And
Wow.
I was like,
Wow.
bro, I'm taking up space in the space with the GOATs. And that was just like a really big deal for me. And it really didn't dawn on me until afterwards, like, yo, this is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew it was it's Tribeca, right? But
Just seeing it with your eyes is
yeah, and then seeing people like really resonate with the story, right? Like it felt good, to be honest.
um, okay. Now let's talk a little bit about verticals.
Oh snap.
Okay. So, well, let's see how we're gonna tee this up. So, Issa Rae, she recently released
Mhm,
a new vertical series. I believe it's exclusively on TikTok
mhm.
called Screen Time.
Yep.
I think it's around 20 or so episodes.
Mhm.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I have seen the reception
Me
online
too.
and it's doing very well.
Yeah, I think it had like 20 million views or something first week or something
Oh.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and there's even creators here, directors here in Houston that are, churning out these verticals because they're quick. But why don't you explain what a vertical is for people who are unfamiliar with the term?
And shout out to Issa Rae, first and foremost. Shout out to my homegirl Jasmine too. She's part of that series. We actually worked together before on some stuff with BET. And my homeboy Kevin Constantine, but she's a really dope actor. She's been doing her thing for a minute, so super proud of her. Seeing her navigate through the industry, even all the way back to when she didn't even know me, and I knew her at um trying to do 106 in Park and BET correspondent stuff. So I'm just proud of her uh, for being able to be in something like that. But so verticals are exactly what they kind of sound like. It's basically you shooting in vertical. You shooting, you know, series in the form factor of a phone. So 9 by 16, right?
Mhm.
Versus the standard 16 by 9. And I got mixed feelings about it, to be honest with you. I got very mixed emotions about it. Again, shout out to Issa Rae. Shout out to my homie Jasmine and for killing it. And I think that Verticals for me is a writer's, actor's platform. I don't think it's a platform for cinematographers, right? Because most verticals that you see is like headshot, cut to headshot, cut to headshot. And for me, it's unnuanced in the way that as a cinematographer, you understand that there is an emotional attachment to certain compositions, right? Over the shoulder. I can't really get an over the shoulder shot in verticals as much as I would like to because you you here with it. You know, I was joking like imagine if you live your whole life like this and just cut off your vision 9 by 16, right? Like God didn't intend us to just see 33% of the 100%, right? Because essentially when you take 16 by 9 and you crop it here, it just takes the nuance out of it. I just talked about like me being big into production design and placement. And sometimes some of those things in the foreground, some of these things in the thirds create a visual feeling that I think verticals miss the opportunity on. Now, granted, could you be creative and figure out some dope stuff? Yeah, but it is limiting because most verticals at this particular juncture is headshot, medium
Mhm.
shot, close up. Head, yeah, you might get a wide here, but you kind of can't do much movement because you in this parameter, right? And so, and then there's a psychological element to it that I'm challenged by. I was just watching an interview with the legendary, uh, man, why am I having a brain freeze right now? She played the mother in Michael Jackson, legendary. Uh,
And the oh, Nia Long?
Nia Long. Oh, I was about to say Nina Simone. Nia Long.
Starts with the
It
N.
Nia Long, goated, right? All the way back to Boys in the Hood. Been in the
Mhm.
industry for so long, goated on so many legendary things. I was watching an interview with Nia Long, and she was just talking about how media platforms have shifted the way we are psychologically, right? So when we grew up, it was like going to the cinema. So, man, a new movie coming out. I'm so excited to go to the movie theater and watch this thing. Think about how well Michael has done. No matter what you think about the story, this thing has hit $500 million in the box office because it's clear that there is a tangible, physical, uh thing that is important in the theaters, right? Having that community, like we talk about sticking together, like being around other people, right? So when we were growing up, it's all about going to the cinema.
Right.
Then it went from, okay, now the movies aren't in the cinema, now it's on TV.
Or streaming.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Streaming, it's on TV, right? So now instead of now me and the homie Tasha going to the movie theater, like, yo, you want to go see this movie theater with the homies? Now it goes from, hey, come over to the crib and let's watch it. So now it went from a theater of 300 to 400 now to 2 people.
Mhm.
Now verticals have put things into a position where now everything is just in your hand. So now it went from 2 people to 1 person because we can't watch a vertical series together.
No.
You watching it by yourself. So psychologically and from a community standpoint, that is kind of like the part that kind of bothers me or I'm concerned about, right? Because if we start getting people to say, hey, it's right here. It's just for you. Now you reduce the community, right? You
Right.
reduce, and then there's other community elements when you go to shooting verticals because it's all about like, for lack of better term, short staffing, right? Like how do you do this nimble? And I'm all with people having new platforms, new ways to tell their story, new mediums for actors to act and showcase their skill set. But also too, if the idea is like, let's keep compressing it, let's keep consolidating, let's keep putting it in their phones, and let's take it from the TV and now let's take it out of the theaters, put it in the TV, and now let's just put it in their hands. And we've already come out of COVID where it isolated us, right?
Right.
So it's like, is verticals isolating our viewership and as well as the community that we build around making stories? Or is it actually elevating? Because if only me and you can only watch this thing by ourselves in our hands, what's the community element around engaging, right? Is it all about now just people in the comments? Is it now just the digital community? There is a there is value in a physical interaction with people. And I think,
And word
right,
of mouth also.
correct.
Like, you do lose the art of, like, coming out of the theater, people in the lobby talking about it. You can't do that
It's
with
what's
a
happening with
vertical.
Michael now,
Mhm.
right? You want to go see it in the theater because the only way you can see it is because of that physical interaction with the thing and you're around people, right? I remember when I first went and saw Michael for the first time, the IMAX, people in there dancing, screaming. I got a video on my phone where people literally had their lights flashing on like they were in a concert. Like it was just a whole experience. And you miss that experience and it gets consolidated down to this one isolated thing where only you see it, and the only community element of it is people digitally talking on a phone or commenting through a phone. And so from a cinematographer standpoint, I'm bothered because now I only see 33% of my image and I can't evoke visual emotion. But from a community psychological standpoint, as it comes to filmmaking community, especially where the industry is now, right? They're trying to take us out of theaters. They're trying to take, so for me, verticals is just another ploy to take us out of theaters opposed to it's pros and cons. It's a catch
Yeah.
22. It is a new medium where people can do it with smaller crews, but then now you start normalizing that, like, hey, yeah, you could just now you could just do a whole movie series or TV series with just 6 people with a small budget. And it's like, at what point where the budgets are just keep compacting and compacting and compacting, and at some point, it can't just be about money. The art has to be the determining factor, right? It's not just because you could do it quick, fast, and in a hurry and consolidate and nimble. What happened to let me take my time, let me do something people will appreciate and show a picture. And I'm a, like I said, I went to go see Michael in IMAX because I want to see the whole
Biggest screen.
shebang, right? I want to see all the visual emotions that this full frame would evoke. And I don't think if we went and saw Michael and it came out on a vertical, what would with the
The reception wouldn't be the same, because that emotional connection wouldn't be there. It's something about seeing, like, moving images on a big screen right in front of you. Like, it's like something, I don't know, it's just like a very emotional experience. It's hard to, like, put into words, but
yes, it's motion picture, right? Like that's why they call them motion pictures when you think about film, and not to get technical, but it's 24 frames per second, meaning it's 24 pictures every second. They say pictures are worth what?
1,000 words.
So you got to be able to like evoke motion in that. And I can't tell 1,000 words if my picture is only here. I'm only telling 30, 33% of my thousand. I'm only telling 333% when I mean, 300 and whatever 33% is of 1,000. Sorry, my math ain't mathing, but you get what I'm going at, right? Like I don't get a chance to fully evoke the emotions that I want to as a cinematographer and as a director. I mean, maybe as a director, like I said, for directing, and if you just want to work on your chops, I think it's great. But it can I think Verticals is a great platform for evolving
Mhm.
artists, upcoming directors, and you trying to sharpen your iron and work on your chops. I'm concerned when you have people like Issa Rae, who's on a very huge platform, and now she has very big actors on this thing. And now I'm like, dang, now it's not just for the people,
Emerging filmmaker.
emerging filmmakers now, because what happens when somebody big like that comes on the platform, now the eyes get taken off of the emerging filmmakers,
That's true. That's
right?
true.
And Issa is the queen of transitioning and figuring it out. You got to think she started her series on YouTube, but now she is Issa Rae.
Right.
She is Issa Rae, and then Tay Diggs is also now doing something in a vertical series space. So, what does that look like for evolving and emerging filmmakers? Where it's like, hey, we had our space to grow, and now the big dogs have came
And swooped up all the attention.
and made it a money mission, right? And so, and I don't think that that is Issa or Tay or any other huge actor's intention, because they are thinking like how, because they're actors, they're storytellers. Issa is a writer. You know what I'm saying? Yes, of course she's a great actor on camera, but I'm saying like, and so that's why I'm torn between the two, because I do love the idea of like them being able to have a new place and space and platform. But then now all of the little people,
Right.
you
No
don't,
one's paying attention to
no
theirs.
one's paying attention to them. Imagine all of the vertical series that were popping off. We as a community didn't really know the big actors. It was about the director, the writing, great storytelling. Now imagine if all those emerging filmmakers, imagine if 10 more people that are notably known come out with high level vertical series like Issa, then what happens to all the people who were, that was their way of being able to be in the film industry and make it and make a living off of it, right? Everybody in that on
They can't
those,
compete with.
they're already making a living. You know what I mean? So I think it's levels, and a part of me wish that uh people who are doing it at a high level stay in traditional cinema,
Mhm.
and the emerging artists were able to have just that, just give us this
Their
thing.
avenue, their
Give us this
lane.
thing, and I probably will never do verticals just because as a cinematographer on that side, I have my position on that, right? But for the people who are coming in the game, started off with an iPhone, figuring it out, being able to make a decent, a livable living, especially in this economy off of verticals, what does the big dogs coming in now doing this at a high frequency do to them? How does that affect them? And if we're really trying to build our film community and we're really trying to build emerging voices, what does that do to them? Right. And so I'm hoping that it's just a new hot thing and it doesn't evolve, because well, we gonna start turning our TVs vertical now. We at the, like, what's happening? What we doing? You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to live in cinema on a phone when I came from cinema in a theater. That's a massive difference. I come from the audio space. You know, I'm a 12 times multi-platinum producer, songwriter, engineer. Sound matters. So why would I spend 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days, not hours, 8, 9, 10 days on curating this beautiful thing, sound that I want you to hear in the elements of in a theater, or at least in your Dolby 5.1 system at your house, and now it's down to a stereo thing from your phone. You may not even be listening to it on headphones.
Right.
That's not fair to the artist, honestly. You know what I'm saying? So I'm torn. I'm very torn between the two. I'm in a it's a very tricky situation. So yeah, I I reduce my rant.
Where do you see, I guess, maybe the future of verticals, like, in the next maybe, like, 5 to 10 years? Do you see it taking over, I guess, like, the film landscape? What about, I'm wondering, would there ever be, like, a streaming, or, like, a vertical maybe showing in theaters? I'm just, like, shooting at the wall here, but I'm just, like,
Ooh,
wondering,
you
what do you
stressing me out, Sasha. If it is a screening and the screen in the theater is vertical, I'm going into another
You're
profession. I'm
walking out.
sorry. I just can't, like, I mean, but who knows? Look what AI has done in a matter of 5 years, right? And it's taken so many jobs, but I don't see it doing that, because there are some, cinephiles and purists. There's too many of them to just let everything go vertical. I do think it is a specialized space, but who knows? Again, when you get big dogs, for lack of better terms, in this space, and it starts making money, and you're like Issa, and you create screen time, you get 20 million views. What does that look like to? What is that message to all the other big dogs in the industry? Oh man, we got to
Gotta
jump
start
on
making
this.
verticals.
You know what I mean? Especially if it's making money.
Right.
And I'm concerned, like I'm really, really, really concerned about the verticals play, to be quite frank with you, but I digress.
We'll leave it at that. I wanna talk before we run out of time, I wanna talk about Sincerely Rad,
Yeah.
your latest film. I wanna give, like, a little bit of a summary of it
Okay.
before I start asking you questions. I'm just gonna read this. Amidst a tense political climate in an aerospace city, a biracial couple finds their love tested by outside perceptions. As they navigate cultural tensions, Zoe faces the challenges of pregnancy while her fiance is torn between his humanity, identity, and a dangerous NASA mission that could change the world. So I'm going to leave it there.
Uh,
So I know this is your original IP.
yeah,
You wrote this, conceptualized this.
yeah.
What inspired the story?
So we are in a very specific political climate now, and I'm not political by no means. I don't care if you red, blue, green, purple, or whatever. I'm a person of the people, and I think, just do what's right. However, I wrote this in 2021. I started writing it in 2021. The story progressed, and when I first started conceptualizing it, Artemis 2 mission was just talked about. So it was a big thing about, it's about to be the first black man going to space. So for a variety of reasons, I didn't want the concept to be like on the nose, like in real time day. So I started doing research, and then I partnered up with a homie, Greg Cali, and we really, really flushed out the story. So we actually co-wrote the Sincerely Brad That the World Sees Today. Um, and, had a lot of conversations about like, how do we take this idea, Isaac, that you have? And I had maybe like 6 pages. How do we take this idea that you have and really fine tune it? So I always had the idea for it to be a time period piece because, again, I didn't want it to be on the nose. I always had the idea that instead of it being a black wife to a black husband, it being a Latino wife because of all of the things that were happening in the world. And I have a lot of Latino friends, women and men, and what was happening with, the wall being built and all of these things. And now fast forward 4 years later, the ICE mission is just a lot going on, for lack of better terms. Um, and so it was so crazy because I didn't know that we would be where we are now when I start conceptualizing it. And so now it's like the story is more important now than ever. And I just felt like, man, this is a story that needed to be told because in Texas, black and brown folks, we connect and show love and see interracial relationships all the time, right? And not only in Texas, but also in California. And so I was doing a lot of work in between the two, lived in California on and off for 6 years from Texas. And I went to school to Full Sail University in Florida, which is also a very Latino-based state. So you see a lot of Haitians and Colombians and Italians there
Cubans, I
and
think.
Cubans. And so it is, there's a lot of, internal experiences that I had that led me to that. And so long story short, that's ultimately how the story was curated. It was like through all of those elements, right? It was like the political climate that was happening, the social climate that was happening. And then obviously I'm from Texas. So NASA is near and dear to all of us if you're from the H, right?
In our backyard.
Yeah, it's the home of the Rockets, home of the Astros. So yeah, that's how that story kind of came together. Me and Greg really got in the trenches and fine-tuned it. And yeah, right now it's on the film festival circuit, and we got some real exciting news about that here in the coming months. But man, we did a sold-out screening in Los Angeles twice. We did our world premiere in New York with Greg and my homie Mac Wiles. And that was a packed house at capacity. And then we actually sold tickets. We went to LA, sold out twice, came to Houston, sold out River Oaks, and then we ended up doing a second screening and sold that out at AMC. So a lot of really good reactions to it. And people really connected with the concept. And I ended up doing a collaboration with Studio 808, my homegirl Tay Powers and Will. We did a 7-day art exhibition centered around it called An Orbit of Art. So it's like really leaning into that space concept. And so, yeah, just been really building that world. And so now that Artemis 2 mission happened,
Mhm.
now everybody's kind of starting to get it and put two into, oh, I see what he was doing. And crazy thing about all this, I actually got a chance to meet Victor Glover, the actual first black man
Wow.
to orbit the moon. And it was wild because it was totally not planned.
Oh, really?
Totally not planned. I went to be a keynote speaker for Controller Hollins at the city of Houston for one of his Boulay organizations, or it was a Boulay for an organization, let me be correct. And I was the keynote speaker. And so I get through speaking, everybody, man, that was a great talk. It was like a one-on-one chat, and then they were like, before we end, we got to bring somebody up who's about to make history. Da, da, da. And it was like Victor Glover, and I'm like, I've been around a lot of celebrities, and when I tell you, I was like, I guess it was more I was surprised. I had no clue he would be there, and so I'm tapping Chris Hollins like, "Yo, do you? I wrote my whole film loosely based on
Wow.
this," and I was like tripping, and Hollins was looking at me like, "Bro, what's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a big deal," like, and so man, it was so cool because as soon as Victor went up, and he's such a man of humility. As soon as he got up on the mic, he said, "Man, Isaac, what you just said, I just connected with so much of that." And he was just like shouting me out. And I was just like,
Wow. Somebody that
mind,
you respect so much,
mind blowing.
Wow.
And I'm thinking in my mind the whole time, he has no clue that I literally produced, directed, and co-wrote a whole film very loosely based on his life.
Wow.
And so afterwards, I got a chance to tell him. We actually exchanged information. So we've texted a few times. He was in. I talked to him actually while he was in quarantine before they went out on the Artemis 2 mission. So I'm so proud of him. Shout out to Victor Glover, man. He is like, yeah, he was the first black man to go to the moon, but he was the man for the job.
Mhm.
He was the pilot for the job, and he just so happened to be one of us, and that's so freaking dope to me. So man, shout out to him, his whole family. I got a chance to meet a couple of his daughters. Man, he's a really dope guy, and we've been in communication. I actually need to hit him up after this.
Has he gotten a chance to see the film?
I sent it to him, so I don't know if he got a chance to see him, and I didn't really want to press him on sending it because at the time he was focused on his mission. He was in quarantine, and so I was like, if you've seen Sincerely Brad without giving any spoilers, the way it ends is like a cliffhanger. Let's just say that.
Yes.
So I didn't really want to be in his mental about that. I'm like, let me let him get back first and then see the film. So without giving too much about the film, so I actually need to hit him up and make sure he's seen it. But essentially what you saw happen with Artemis is a version of how the film will continue as a feature film because it's a short, it's 21 minutes, but the goal was always for it to be a proof of concept and to serve as a launching pad, no pun intended, to be a feature film. So, man, yeah, I'm excited about it. Shout out to Victor Glover, shout out to the Artemis 2 crew, and shout out to everybody that helped put together Sincerely Brad, Patrick Walker, amazing star in it. Carl Anthony Payne, OG. A lot of people know him as
Martin.
Cole from Martin or Cockroach from The Cosby Show, and Cynthia Carmona and all the other people, man, who killed it on that film. So I'm excited about it and all the traction it's got. And we got some really, exciting news coming up about it. So
Really quickly, just talk about screening the film, the Houston premiere. What was it like to see your film screen in your hometown at the most prestigious theater in the entire city?
yeah,
Which
Rick
theater?
Oaks, man, that was a big deal. That was a really big deal. And it was really crazy to see like, yo, we put the tickets on sale and that joint sold out in, like, less than a week.
It did. I couldn't get tickets. I remember you you made an Instagram video on Monday. The screening was on Friday. Wednesday night, I went to the website and it was all sold out. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, so like in 48 hours. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, man, it's a blessing. It's just a testament to all of the work that I've been doing over the 15 years and people trusting my eye, trusting my vision, and all of the support team that we had behind it. Latex, Media, Studio 808, Emergent and Co., my whole IO Visuals team. We put a lot of effort and energy into it, and I think people were really excited to see it. And I think a lot of people were excited when they saw the outcome. And I was just, you know, blessed to have that happen. So I'm excited for again some more stuff that we got in the works. So
Well, that's a good segue.
yeah.
So we're nearing the end of the interview. So just tell everybody where they can go to learn more about your work, and then like tell us about what you have coming up.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, we have a film I can world premiere. Give you I just need the horns. Put the horns in the background for me, bro. Nah, but Paragraphs of a Page. That's the name of the new project coming out about Dr. Paige. So that's the first time anybody's ever heard that name outside of internal. So it's called Paragraphs of a Page. Really excited about that. Like I said, we got some really exciting news to share very shortly about Sincerely Brad. Hopefully by the time this episode comes out, um, the news will be out. And we have some really cool news coming about DJ Screw project. I just finished um a feature length project about DJ Screw, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. But the world will soon see. It's really, really, really exciting, and I'm really proud of it. It's been a pre-COVID baby, so it's 7 years in the making. So I'm super excited about that project. And we got some really cool stuff coming up with the Houston Texans and some projects that we're working on with some really cool brands. So yeah, I try to live my life in a mystery. So I want people to see it when it happens and not over talk it until it's time. But man, I just truly appreciate you for having me on. Appreciate all the support. The city of Houston has given me over the years. Excited to celebrate 15 years. And man, it's we just getting started.
I'll leave it at that. That's a wrap on today's episode of Tosh Talks Film. Isaac, thank you so much for coming on and just
Absolutely.
sharing about your work and about like your upbringing. I think it really comes through in your work, like you said, like how you were raised and everything, your community.
Mhm.
So thank you so much for coming on. And if you want to learn more about Isaac Yeoman and follow his latest film, Sincerely Brad, visit iovisuals.com. If you enjoy this conversation, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow filmmakers and industry creatives. And I'm your host, Natasha Arrow, and thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.